Hi, this is Sherry. I'm coming at you from my suite because my computer ate my reading. I had a great reading all completed for you guys. I did it on the lake and it was beautiful, and I don't know, I need a partner. I need somebody to help me do this because this stinks. I'm really getting almost worse at doing my readings than I used to. So I'm gonna have to redo them again. So we had I had one totem messenger that I had ready that I was gonna talk about. And then another came to us when I was at the lake. So I'm going to do both. So the squirrel is the first one. My friend posted a picture of me on my Facebook page this morning. And it was funny because I'm out in the country and there's this like squirrel photobombing the picture. I thought that was hysterical. So I thought, oh, he's our messenger. And yes, I've spoken to us about to all of us about that before, but I guess he's coming up again. Squirrel, originally, what comes to my mind as soon as I hear squirrel is get ready for big changes because they're constantly preparing. Squirrels are gatherers, right? They're always running around gathering nuts. They gather enough to carry them through winter. But what's interesting about squirrel is that they use only 10% of the nuts that they gather. So it talks about maybe you're gathering too many things in your life that may be objects or beliefs or emotions. There's things that maybe that you need to get to let go of and get rid of in your life that you don't need to hold on to any longer. And it also, squirrel, they don't remember where half the nuts are that they bury because they're very erratic. Squirrel is one of my totems. They are very busy. They turn on a dime. They're quick change artists, basically. You can see them running along a wire and all of a sudden they completely switch and go back the other direction. So it talks about being flexible. It talks about having the ability to turn on a dime, the ability to change directions. So spirit might be saying to you that you're looking at going in this direction, then all of a sudden maybe something else is gonna happen that you're gonna have to go into a different direction. So there's the flexibility. But then the fact that you see them running along the wire. Squirrels are very much into play. They're all about and having a good time. They're chatterers. They're friendly. And yet they're busy at the same time. So it talks about finding a balance between your work and play. Maybe you're all work and no fun. Maybe you're not playing enough. So there talks about doing that. They talk about they're a good an animal totem to come to you when you may be feeling like you're like at a dead end spot, like where you're stuck, because they talk about perseverance and digging in and trying different ways to different means to get to what it is that you want to succeed at. And as I said, they're talking about getting prepared. So it's like getting ready for big changes. Maybe it's time to start a new change. Also, the message, what I'm saying, there's a time for everything. There's a time for fun. There's a time for work. So if you're not active enough, maybe you need to get active. Maybe you need to get going. I just joined a gym. So maybe you need to be doing a little bit more, because when you're more physically active, it lifts your vibration. It tells you to try not to do too many things at one time, which is I do. They talk about don't get so stressed out. As I said, they forget where they store things, so maybe it's about slowing down and trying to remember things. Maybe it's about going back. Lately, I've been going back in my dreams, and I've been finding things that I'd skipped over because I'd maybe they hadn't come about yet. Maybe they hadn't been fulfilled yet, so I hadn't seen them. Or maybe there was details that I needed to go back and go over. So they talk about slowing down and being able to focus a little bit better. Also, they're very trusting, squirrels. They'll come up and they'll eat out of a person's hand, like a wild squirrel. I've got videos. Remember when I went on my quest and I had the little ground squirrels, like the chipmunks, but I've had squirrels in Stanley Park in Vancouver come, and they'll just come right up to you and eat out of your hand. So it talks about maybe you should be dropping your defenses a little bit and trusting a little bit more. Don't be so afraid to trust. They're also talking about trusting the universe. Maybe you have you need to really start believing what the universe has been telling you is coming. And even if you can't see in the physical, if spirit is telling you something, trust in what they're saying, that you are going to be taken care of because you are prepared. Also, squirrel, I'm trying to think. What else do they do? They lose. Oh, they're nuts. The nuts that they drop, because they're gathering, they're gathering way more than they ever need, and they drop them along as they're going. And so these nuts, even the ones that they don't take and they don't ever find again, they have been dropped into the ground and they've grown into plants, they've grown into trees. And so basically what it's telling you is, you know, you're busy doing your work, whatever work you're doing. You may not even realize the effect that you're having on other people. You've gone on about your business, but other things are growing up around you. So because of the work that you've put in, so it's kind of like a high five or, you know, pat on your back from spirit saying that, you know, you may not even be aware that you've done your job and you've gone on to something else, but you've helped other people. So that's a message. The other message came when I was down there, and I'm so bummed that we don't have the video. It was so pretty. I saw this little bird, and I thought, it kept dive bombing me and like swirling around me, and I thought, she's so pretty. And I looked at it, and I thought, is that a swallow? And I thought swallows were bigger than that, aren't they? And so as I was, you know, taking the canoe around, it was really rocky and tippy in my canoe in the water. So I was like trying to get around, and this little bird kept following me, and I thought, I swear he looks like a swallow. But I thought, okay, I'm going to get into my little cove. And when I got to the cove, it was interesting. I'm going to move this. Maybe this will be less. Oh, that's worse, isn't it? I don't know how to do this. I'll just leave it and forget it. So I got to where I was supposed to be in the cove, and there. I got to where I was supposed to be. Maybe I'll just do this. I got to where I was supposed to be in the cove, and this other bird comes swirling, and it was beautiful. This one was bigger, and it was definitely a swallow. So I thought, okay, that's my message. So I thought, swallow totem. Swallow talks about home. It talks about, swallow is the bird that comes, it's the first bird of spring. It's representing that spring is here. So we've just literally come into spring. So it's appropriate that the swallow showed up. And it talks about bringing warmth and protection to your home. What is your home? Your home where you live, home is where your heart is. So there's warmth and protection coming to those areas in your life. It also talks about conversations, and it talks about paying close attention to conversations. And, you know, this comes up to me because I'm going to move this back. It's better there, isn't it? I don't know. So, what came up? Conversations. Are you listening to respond, or are you listening to hear what somebody is saying? So, you know, a lot of times you're sitting there listening to this conversation and you're waiting for your opportunity to come back with what your answer is. So you're kind of like thinking about what you're going to say to them instead of listening to what they're saying. So I'm guilty of this. I need to listen. And I've tried to be very much more aware of this. But it's even when you get emails. If you get something and you're typing away and somebody else is saying something, you might miss things. So it talks about going back, like the squirrel. Go back and check and make sure that there's not something that that's been overlapped or that you've missed, because you're jumping to a conclusion, seeing what you see down here, and maybe you've missed something up here. So it also talks again about slowing down and make sure you're getting the conversation right. Are you listening closely to what others are saying? Also, are you saying too much? Are you being too open and saying, so that brings to me a dream that I had the other night as well. And my dreams give me lots of messages. I love them. And I was challenged on my dreams last night. Somebody said they got fed up of my dreams. And I thought, really? Because I live for my dreams, you know? But I guess maybe for other people they might be annoying. But in this dream, there was these girls, and I was watching them, and they were kind of like Girl Scouts. Makes me think of my work, you know, Girl Scouts, and they were going from house to house, giving their presentation. And as I listened to them, the lead girl steps up, and now clearly she's going to be me, because in your dreams, everybody is you, an aspect of you. So she says to me, "We found a home." And I said, "Oh." I didn't know what she meant by that. And she says, "We found a home." She goes, "And we're not going to be going from place to place. We're just going to go to that home, and we're going to give our presentation there. And we're going to stay in that home." And I knew a couple of things that it meant, but now that I get all of this about the talk and the listening, it talks about if you've been going to different places or different people and you've been talking, because it says be careful about saying too much. So instead of going to this person, asking for their opinion on something or running something by, stick to one. Have you found your home? Have you found where you know you can trust, where somebody that you can trust and where you feel safe? Just stay there and keep whatever the conversation is between you in that home. It also talks about they found a home, which is going to come up interesting in our reading today. So all of these things kind of tie in together. What else does swallow have to say? Swallows are, they're the birds of new hope and opportunities. They talk about being conscientious to your duty. They're daring and they're fearless. They talk about marital fidelity. They talk about communicating. Sometimes, like I said, the squirrel is the squirrel. Sometimes the swallow is a chatterer, and some like the squirrel. So clearly, these are messages that I'm getting. So it talks about being careful about talking to too many people or saying too much. Also, because you're talking, maybe you're not hearing, so stop talking so much. And maybe also in the conversation, look within the words. Don't necessarily see what's being said, but there's something that's being said to you that can't be said, perhaps. Maybe there's something that needs to not be said. And you should be able to read between the lines. So pick up on that, Sherry, and I have. Also, the swallow is a timid person or a shy person. They have a beautiful voice, and so they're connected to music. They're called the swan birds. The swallow was the pet and associated with the goddess Aphrodite. So Venus, and it talks about love. Lucky to see the swallow. So there's a lot of positive messages about the swallow. What else? Also, when you only see one swallow, this is the thing that I got today. When you see one swallow and you think to yourself, oh, spring's here, yay, all what I've been waiting for, here it is. But if you've only seen one, it says don't jump the gun. There might be a cold snap that's going to come. And so it talks about, like I got yesterday, there's going to be delays. There's going to be change of plans. There's going to be delays. There's going to be detours. So it talked about, things were probably looking really, really good. And then all of a sudden a cold front was going to come in. And that's an emotional cold front for me. That's what I read. And so the cold front comes in and it's going to make things slow down. And so it's like, okay, you thought you were there. You thought you were in this place. And they're telling you, hold on, you're not quite ready yet. There's going to be a bit of a delay. Things got to thaw out a little bit more again. So back up, relax. Don't worry. It's going to come back around again. But just don't get stressed out over it. So those are the messages from Swallow, and I'm going to turn, I don't know what's worse ever. The deck we're going to be working with is the Enchanted Map, and I've got the cards picked out. You know what, this is working when I don't touch it. Maybe that's why, if I don't touch something, if I don't hands-on, it stays. So the messages that we have, I think I'm going to lift the phone up and I don't know if I should, the last time I did that, I got way too close to the cards and you guys weren't even able to read them, which was lame. So I'll be careful this time, but I'm gonna put you here. So, goblins. I hope you guys can see this. You're not gonna be able to see much with goblins though, because the card is rather dark. But you can see this is a forest, and and at the base of the trees, there's these little eyes here, and there's little eyes here. I hope you guys are able to see that. And what they're talking about is the fear, and fear being illusion. And it talks about forgiveness for yourself and others, because goblins come at a time where maybe goblins have come to you when you have had something happen in your life that has hurt you, and it's taken something from you. It's wounded an aspect of you, and you're carrying it with you now. Now this has become a goblin. And when they talk about fear, it's like, when they talk about fear is false evidence appearing real. And even though when you're in the middle of it, I mean, clearly we've all been in a place where we felt fear, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like it's false. It sucks, right? So, you're going through this. So, but they're trying to get you to understand that. You remember when you were a child and you went to bed at night. Maybe you had like a nightlight. We all had like night lights. I always had like these glowing star things. So if you have a nightlight, but sometimes you'll lay there in your bed and you look around the ceiling and you see like the shadows and you see these monsters. It reminds me of the song Eminem and Rihanna's song about monsters. I'm friends with the monster under my bed. I am friends with the monster under my bed, which is great. But sometimes kids are really afraid of these monsters. And these monsters, as I said, are fears that have come to you that you've been holding since childhood because of, maybe people have said you are this, or this is the way you've always been, or maybe whatever the fears are, they've now come into your head, and they're mimicking what you think is your higher self, but it's not. It's your ego mind that's talking. It's your ego mind that's telling you, and it's holding you hostage through these fears, and it's telling you that you're unworthy, that you're not good enough, that you are, all these negative things that come at you from the goblins. They represent your shadow. And it talks about becoming a friend of your shadow. Face your shadow, and you'll realize that the fear isn't real. It's just like in the bedroom at night, when you would see the shadows, and you'd cry to your mom or dad, there's monsters in the room, and they'd turn the lights on, and the shadows would disappear, and the monsters would disappear, because they weren't real. So it talks about releasing the shadow. It also, because these goblins are speaking to you, these are liars. This is your ego. This is your fear talking, and it's telling you that you're not good enough. It's telling you that you are, whatever, unworthy, no, you're not, they're, it's absolutely, it's the opposite of love. It's, you know, it's attacking your self-worth. So they're telling you, you need to love yourself more, and recognize that to release these goblins is a way of healing. And only through releasing these goblins and recognizing the fear that, you know, it's not that bad. I posted a video this morning of this mother cat, and you could see her kitten was up in the tree. And the kitten was crying, and it was scared. And the woman was videotaping, and she was saying to the mother cat, go get it. Go get him. And so the mother cat was talking to him, trying to talk him down. You know, it's like talking to a friend who's afraid of something and try and talk them down. But she looked, and the woman kept saying, go get him, which is what we want to do. It's what I want to do. I'm like the rescuer. I want to go try and fix it. But I watched with this cat, the mother cat, and what she did was she talked to him, and she went up to him, and she tried to kind of like pull him by his neck, but she didn't carry him down. She kind of like pulled him and was kind of like, dude, do it. You can do this. And the lady kept saying, carry him down. Go back up and get him. But she didn't. She didn't go back up and get him. She told him what she needed to tell him, and then it was up for him to figure it out. She was telling him, and there's no reason to be afraid, right? You have nothing to be to fear here. You know, you're safe here. You can do this. The fear is in your head. It's not real. And so she came down, and the kitten, as the woman was saying, go back and get it, which is possibly our own ego mind telling us to go back and say more and more. And that's what I'm thinking about with the, and I was bummed that I didn't get the swallow message until I was on the lake, because I'd already done a lot of, you know, trying to fix something. I thought, well, I'm going to write and I'm going to email something and I'm going to fix this and give all the information. And then I saw that, and maybe you've said too much, and I thought, great, well, now I'm getting it. But you know what? I got it this morning too, and I didn't see it. So that's what's talking about slowing down and reading or paying attention or listening to what you're getting, because I'd already gotten the message with the cat. The mother cat told the little kitten what was going on, said there was no reason for you to fear. And then she left him. She backed away, and she gave him the opportunity to figure it out for himself and come down out of the tree. Even though the woman that was filming, which probably would have been your ego mind, still saying, no, you got to go back, which is like me. I went back and I emailed all this stuff, and I didn't need to, because he's going to be able to figure out himself. This kitten knows how to get out of the tree. So she came back down to the ground, and the kitten slowly worked its way down the tree, slid down the tree. And when he got on the ground, he walked across like he was a badass. He's like, I can handle this. I can do this. It wasn't a big deal. It's kind of like any fear that you've had. You look at it and you're terrified, and then you're pushed into doing something. But once you do it, you're like, wow, that wasn't that bad. You know, I'm over it. It wasn't a big deal. And then you move forward. So that's the first message for goblins. The next message, I think I'm going to do it. How can I do this? I'm trying to think of an easier way that I can do this for you guys. I think I'll hold it like this. Can you see? So this is Ride the Wave, and you see we've got two dolphins, and I don't know if you can see. I'll go really close. There's a guy riding this dolphin. And the number of this card is 14. So 1 is keep your thoughts positive, right? Number 4 means angels are with you. So you're safe. When I look at dolphins, first of all, they're riding a big wave, which brings to mind this dream that I got, and it's been torturing me for weeks. When the great wave comes, go to the mountain. Okay, so here's a great wave, and these two, they're a pair, and they are riding the wave together. They're on the crest of this wave. And I'm trying to figure out what the mountain is, but I know that the pair are going to ride this wave. And at the time, I was worried that it was going to be a negative. But what it's talking about, dolphins represent fun. They represent having a good time. They represent play, and they know the importance of playing. They know how important it is to have a good time, because you can't be all work, work, work. You know, just like the squirrel was saying, there's got to be a balance. You have to know when to play. And because it lifts your vibration. And you can't have all work and no play. So all you workaholics, speaking to myself, we have to get out there and have a good time, because that's what you're doing. They're riding the wave. But the message on here, what is it that they're saying? They're saying, ride this wave easy and effortlessly. So this isn't going to be a scary wave. This is going to be something good that's coming. They're talking about you're entering a time where you're going to be able to ride this wave. And it's a wave of abundance. So it's a wave of good that's coming. It doesn't necessarily mean money, although it could. But it's positive things that are coming to you. It talks about that you have all the talent that you have required. You have learned things, and you've got whatever you have with you to bring about your hopes and dreams. And this wave that's coming is going to carry you forward. It talks about people and circumstances coming out of the waves, coming out of this emotional water, that are they're going to come and they're going to help carry you, and they're guaranteed to bring you to your success. And they're telling you that you're safe, and to ride this wave. So there's a partner. There's a partnership happening here. So it might be between two people. It might be between organization and you. It might be between you and spirit. But whatever it is, you're going to be assisted to ride this wave successfully. And you're on an ocean of possibility and potential, which is coming to bring you forward with your dreams. So there's that message. The next message that we get is, hold on, it's not this one. Talisman. Okay. I could put the wake up computer because it gives me my light. Okay, even though it makes my face all shiny. Talisman. You see this girl, and she's on this long, windy road, right? And it basically talks about lessons. See how she's carrying, right? Oh, it's on that side. See the blue globe? Dang it. Right there. That's her talisman. So she's walking on this long, windy road, and it talks about the lessons that she's learned along this road that she's been on. And it talks about, you know, you've come to a place where you've been on this windy road. Life's been, you know, that's the road of life, right? Have you ever seen that meme? I've seen it on Facebook where they say, you know, your plan and then God's plan, and your plan is like this bike riding along this straight road, and then God's plan is like whoop, 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 all these and I see this one little person swimming in the water, and I'm like, that's me in the puddle right there. So it talks about this road that you've been on. You've already gone on. Just because it's windy in the front doesn't mean it hasn't been windy in the back. It's probably had major mountains behind you, but you've come to this place, and it's saying basically that you have learned the pitfalls. You found where those puddles are, because you know, think back where you were a year ago or 2 years ago. I have learned so much about myself and my mate in the last 2 years. I can't even tell you, but the last year, even the last several months, if you go back, the things that you have learned about yourself, the things that you've learned about the other person or whoever you're involved with or whatever, and anything, they're all lessons. And you know where not to step. You know, wow, that didn't work, so I'm not going to do that this time. So it enables you to make, you know, quicker decisions, more in a better way. You're able to gather information more quickly, because when you come across that again, you're going to recognize it. Oh no, that didn't work, so I'm not going to do that again. So next time I'm going to do it this way. It helps you, tells you that you're hold on, let me think. You have the ability, I'm listening, there's a song playing right now. Riptide. Running down to the riptide. So running down to the riptide, that would be me. Taking risks, taking chances, but then you get yourself in trouble. So she's figured it out. Don't get caught in the riptide, which is water emotions, swirling emotions. So it talks about you're at a place where you know the right things to do right now. You're making good choices because you've learned. And so I'm thinking about, you know, forgiveness as well, what we got before, forgiveness and letting go, so that you're able to move forward, because even when you've gone through terrible things, you've learned from them. They're lessons. So maybe people have caused things to happen in your life, but you have to remember that we're all in a movie, right? We're all part of this movie where we're spirit creatures wearing these human suits, and we're not perfect yet, right? But down here, we're not perfect. So, but we're all playing roles. And every one of us chose this life, so every one of us chose a role to play. So if there are family members or friends that have done things, or other people that have done things that have hurt you, remember, they're just playing a role. And you can look at it as a movie, and that's a way that you can somewhat try and remove yourself from the situation, so that you're able to forgive and able to see that there were lessons that had to be learned, right? You know, maybe your plan wasn't to go straightforward, because you wouldn't have learned A, B, and C. Now you have, thanks to them. You don't want to necessarily learn those lessons anymore, and just because you understand and you're forgiving somebody for putting you through something doesn't mean you need to hang out with them. But you can say, thank you for the lessons. I don't need to learn them any longer, but I'm going to keep that knowledge so that I know what to do in the future, and I won't have to come across this again. So it talks about don't carry the weight of any frustration or unforgiveness for others, but also for yourself. Because maybe you're beating yourself up for, I should have known this, or why didn't I do this? I do this all the time to myself. So, I mean, every time I give you guys a message, it's definitely a message for me, because I have a hard time forgiving myself too. I have very high expectations for myself. But you have to let go, and you got to forgive in order to move on. So you can say, I forgive you. I don't want you in my life any longer. I don't want to deal with this anymore, and I certainly don't want these lessons anymore, but I'm moving on because I don't want to carry this with me anymore. And it talks about that there's, along this windy road, because of the things that you have learned, it's garnered like wisdom. This is like from turning, like coal turning into diamonds, right? Diamonds in the sky. You've got this message now, and you've got this clarity and this wisdom that you can carry forward to help you get to your destination in the best way possible. So there's that one. The next one, this is where I got cut off on the lake. So maybe this is why, I don't know why we're here inside. But this one is this is a cool one. This is, let me read okay. Come together. Can you guys see that? Come together. And this is talking about love that needs to be shared. And what I want to point out to you is, I don't know if you guys can see, but on top of this heart, that's a pelican. Pelican talks about forgiveness. Pelicans work as part of a team. It also talks about teamwork, which also these two, because they're a team, the giraffes. But the pelican, they float over the emotional waters, right? They work as part of a team. They scoop the fish out of the water, personal message from me. And but they talk about letting go of resentments and having forgiveness and if you're able to forgive, because clearly we all need to be forgiven, right? We're all at some time in our life going to need the forgiveness of somebody else. So it's best if you're able to forgive easily, because one day it's going to be your turn, and you're going to want the favor returned. But it talks about letting go of resentments too, and kind of like going with the flow, how they ride the current. So it talks about scooping up what you need, like the talisman, lessons that you've learned, scoop up what you need and let go of the rest and move forward on your path. So that just jumps out to me with pelican. But the giraffe also, the two giraffe, now this is a couple, clearly coming together. This is a couple coming together. But the giraffe, they have a long neck. So to me, with they have the ability to see into the future. So they're not going to be stuck. They don't, sometimes we're just like I'm a short person, so, I don't see a lot. If I'm with, my ex-husband's really tall. He's like 6'4", and we'd go into a place and he could see everything all around him, and I'm like down here. All I could see was people's shoulders. So with a giraffe, and he used to say it's the most powerful gift that a man can have is to be tall, and I was on a ladder once at my mom's house, and we were doing some decorating, and my daughter-in-law was there, and she's 6'1", and I was standing up on the ladder, and I went to hand her something, and I was at eye level with her, and I looked around the room, and I said, wow, this is what it's like to be you every day? This is amazing. I felt incredibly powerful because I was able to see from a higher perspective. So that's what the giraffe comes out to me. It's saying, look at things from a higher perspective, and you'll see, you'll have a much better, you'll feel more powerful than when you're looking down.